Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course, with me is guy Wit, my other brother from another mother, Bobby Blunts. Boys, no UFC this past Saturday, but as I was actually getting ready to officiate my cousin's wedding this Saturday, I'm standing up there. I'm kind of going over the lines. I'm getting breaking news. Anthony Joshua gets knocked out by Dubois. It wasn't even that close to a fight. Got flatlined multiple times. Wit, let me start with you since you're the boxing aficionado. Have we seen the last of Anthony Joshua at a very elite level?
Well, let's talk about it, man. First of all, big shouts out to Turkey Al Sheikh. So salam alaikum to all my brothers in Riyadh season. Shukran alaki. That's thank you, my brothers. But anyway, let's think about it. Anthony Joshua takes on Dubois in a match that's supposed to lead to Usyk and Fury's winner. But the money is on Fury Anthony Joshua happen. Oh no, guess what? Out of nowhere, we have an upset. But that's what's been going on since the beginning of the year, I feel like. Somehow, some way, we get to see Dubois, and I talked about it on the show. He's a puncher, but more like if we get to see old George Foreman fights, he don't even look like he's swinging hard. It's not even, if you look at the Anthony Joshua recap, the fight, all of Anthony Joshua's swings looked extremely, extremely poignant. Like he was trying, but he had a really bad tail. He kept his hand down, and every time he kept his hand down, he was taken advantage of by Dubois. Does that show a lack of skill by Anthony Joshua, or technically more skill by Dubois? This is something that we have that I've watched other boxing analysts. Shout out to Showbiz. If y'all don't watch Showbiz on TikTok or on YouTube or Instagram, you should start doing it to get some of your boxing information. It's crazy that's something that other people have noticed about him in the past, and no one's really been able to take advantage of because he hits so hard that you don't get the opportunity to have a counterattack like Dubois did. So to answer your question, is this the end of Anthony Joshua? This is the end of his reign at a dominant level at heavyweight. And when I say that, I don't mean it in a negative way. Let's think about it. 2016, 2018, 2019, 2024, we're technically thinking about Anthony Joshua fighting the best in the world at his division. And I'm talking about at one point, Tyson Fury. At another point, of course, we wanted him to fight the Bronx Bomber. But, as we became closer to 2024, we realized the reign of Tyson Fury was going to last a little bit longer than, other fighters. And then somehow, some way, this was the peak, because we wanted to see the two best fighters. And just so happened, both of them are English, the lineal champ, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. We did want to see that, but it's been foiled again. You know what I mean? It seems like this is the year for upsets in boxing, or especially in the heavyweight division. But I mean, Wembley Stadium, London, England. Well, I think it was the largest attendance for Wembley, if I'm not mistaken. 96,000 crazy people in the stands. So many notable fighters, but he took it on the chin. And when I say he took it on the chin, pause, I mean literally, it was one of those things where, even if you're not a boxing person, somebody who just cut on the fight, it looked as though he didn't take Dubois serious. And I don't think he did. I think he thought he was going to go in there and do something very similar to what happened with Francis Ngannou, land some shots and go home. Nah, Dubois, his whole family, his camp, they had been talking about them being prepared for this fight for the last 10 years, and it just so happened to sit into their lap. Eddie Hearn, Eddie Hearn looked astonished on the side of the ring. I mean, it was like, maybe fourth, fifth round? It was a wrap, and you had to chalk it up. Conor McGregor, oh my God, the second knockdown, the second big knockdown, or rather the second big fight where the ref almost came and stopped it and checked him because it was a slip. Conor McGregor going nuts in the background is one of the things I'm going to remember, because I'm assuming, Conor was a betting man. I'm gonna assume I'm gonna put some money on Anthony Joshua, and he lost it. Oh man! But this is one of the things we do like about boxing in this era, in this time period. The money is being placed in the right hands. The promoters, who for years have been running boxing and have been disassociated with one another. That's like me and Botkins being a part of Let's Talk Sports, and me going, well, you know what? I'm not going to work with him. Never going to work with him. It only takes the right opportunity for us to get into place where all of a sudden this is happening. And now that guy, once again, Salam Alaikum to Turkey Al Sheikh, who's putting the money where technically his mouth is, or where the oil is, whichever one you want to call it. And is actually getting these fights to happen. You know what? And I know I'm rambling a little bit, but this is how I'm gonna close it, right? So we kind of had an upset with what pretty much this definitely was an upset with Anthony Joshua taking a loss, possibly an upset with Usyk beating Fury, and possibly, of course, we got to see what happens in the rematch. What if Usyk wins again? And Deontay Wilder losing at the beginning of the year, and
He's lost a few times.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, but the biggest loss, against Zane was a big deal. What if we got some money together, such as the billions and billions of dollars that Turkey Al Sheikh commands with his Riyadh season purse, and we put a fight card up that we've always wanted to see, because we've always wanted to see some of these fights. Once again, we get Joshua and Wilder. I wrote this down. We get Joshua and Wilder. This could be a put the gloves down match. Somebody's got to retire. It never happens again. Nobody. I don't need no defense in this one. Okay. Dubois and Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker, who actually did beat Deontay Wilder and has taken on several heavyweights at short notice. I like that one. And then we get Bacoli versus Big Bang Zhang. I don't know if y'all know about Big Bang Zhang or Martin Bacoli. That is who took out Big Baby on the last Riyadh season card in LA, when Turkey Al Sheikh got a trophy and a belt, and he gave away a card. Those three matchups somehow, some way jump out to mind now that these things have happened, and we still have to wait.
And I'll throw it to you, Bobby, here just a second. I think if Fury loses to Usyk, and you can go ahead and do Fury versus Anthony Joshua, the fight that we've all wanted to see for the last 5-6 years. Bobby, what's your thoughts here on Anthony Joshua? I think this fight, to me, even though Dubois won on Saturday, I think it's still the story of Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, so let's back it up to the beginning of the fight. Mainly the entrances. When Dubois came out, he was looking ready and locked in. He walked immediately to the ring, and you could tell he knew what time it was, and he was going to push and test him early. Anthony Joshua comes out. I think he had 3 to 4 different songs in his walkout. He's admiring all the fireworks. Hey, it looked really cool. Then Eddie Hearn's behind him, like talking all this shit, hyping him up. And he got in there. I don't know if he was trying to ice Dubois. It dramatically failed. He had all of his ring gear off ready. Joshua sat there with his robe still on. I don't know if he was trying to stay warm up until the very end of the call out, but he just looked like his plan was to start it slow and get it going. And Dubois was like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to put you out right now. And he knocked him down in the first. and he never recovered. His legs were never back under him, and it was pretty wild to watch live. And honestly, I don't think it's the end for AJ at all. I think it just shows how interchangeable a lot of these heavyweights are at this level. And we just got a lot more entertaining fights to come up. I don't think you necessarily need Fury to win to do Joshua Fury. But almost any of those matchups with those top guys, I would not have a problem seeing it. But I think at the end of the night, the story definitely was about Dubois because, it's Eddie Hearn immediately mentioned the rematch clause. Personally, for Joshua's health, I do not think he should do that. I kind of question
at least not till maybe next summer.
I kind of question how much the Francis Ngannou camp not really affected this camp, but like that was what I was most curious in for this fight. It was going to be the first couple of rounds to see how it went, and it dramatically went poorly for Joshua, and he simply never recovered. There was one point where I thought they waved off the fight, and then I think Turkey Al-Sheikh looked at him like, no, and oh no, that was a slip. My bad.
That was a slip, yeah.
And but eventually Dubois could not be denied, and he put him down again. And credit to Joshua for going at it at the end. I think they told him, hey, you got to put it on now because we've seen you get dropped, and he did hurt him. And it looked like he might be able to capitalize, but then not. Hit him again, put him down. And it was about as one-sided, this is the sad thing for me. This is what I wanted Francis Ngannou to do, as ridiculous as it sounds now. But this was kind of what I was relying on. The, quick.
The chin. Yeah, Anthony Joshua, it's been tested, you know what I mean? It's been hurt before. I mean, Anthony Ruiz came out of there and beat him.
Yeah, and this is what I was going to bring it up. Thank you, Bacchus, man. It seems like he trains down. Some fighters do that. They train down for competition. Ruiz was not expected to do anything against Joshua. Ruiz went out in his next fight and laid a complete egg, which basically terminated the idea of having Joshua and Ruiz again, for any purposes. Dubois, I feel like, really made Anthony Joshua look at him in a way in which he was unprepared for. The training that he had to have been going through, he left his guard down. I'm talking wide open. There's no one of the things I know from friends and going to gyms, they call it holding the phone, right? Having your other hand ready to guard your eye. Anthony Joshua's hand is all the way down here on his chest. He was not, and it could be a residual from the knockout in the very first round. And because Bobby mentioned it, the very first knockdown, I think was the worst, just for a mental perspective, because out of nowhere it was like, oh my God, what's going on? Anthony Joshua's on the ground, and then we got a chance to see him recover, but. By the time,
I don't think he ever really recovered though. His legs never recovered.
That is the point. We never really see him. He's a tough guy. Don't get me wrong. One of the toughest matches that I've ever seen a guy get up. How many times, Bobby? Maybe 4, 5. And that last one, when his leg shook, and then he rolled his ankle. I was like, oh yeah, that's it. They might as well stop it. And the ref let him go out like a man. And just like Bobby mentioned in the 5th round, he had him shook. And then when you can see that Anthony Joshua is recognizing that he has put Dubois in a position where he can change the fight dramatically with one more punch. And he began to swing wildly, missed, and got flattened. And that picture will last forever of Dubois connecting with his jaw going completely in the other direction, and his tongue and mouthpiece basically being halfway out his mouth due to the fact of how hard he hit. And it's going to be a lasting memory we have of Anthony Joshua. And once again, it feels like almost how I felt about Deontay Wilder losing at the beginning of the year. In England, he was a folk hero, someone who represented the country, English boxing. Eddie Hearn, one of the biggest promoters in boxing, period, behind him. And he was smited by a boxer who was very much so the underdog, not just the underdog in life, the underdog on the card, the underdog in the stands, 96,000 people, half of them booing, and somebody won a lot of money. I don't know who, but somebody won a lot of money when they put that money on Dubois. So hats off to Dubois. Just like you said, Bobby, in the long run, the story should be about Dubois, but because of the fame and the name, a lot of this is going to be about Joshua and what he does next.
Well, a big reason why I think it should be about Dubois for sure is, there were a lot of people that called him a quitter when he had his, the broken orbital and shit. And I mean, it was revealed afterwards, like, that is not something to fuck around with. And, he seemed very good at being able to put everything aside and, coming back from a moment like that to this is just spectacular. And, that is kind of what I'm more interested in, is to see what he is actually going to be doing next. I mean, they got a lot of different options, but,
could he get the winner? Could he get the winner of Usyk and Fury?
That is the question, my brother, and you asked it. I think that more than likely we'll be looking at,
like, if Anthony Joshua was supposed to be next in line, and you beat the guy that was going to be next in line, you would be next in line.
You see, you got to go. You mess up the apple cart here. The money train was for, first of all, the original money train is for Fury to beat Usyk and take all the belts, right? So Fury loses to Usyk. Usyk does not do his mandatory and puts the belt down. Now it's just Usyk and Fury just because. You see what I'm saying? This is literally these last few heavyweight cards really have had some huge upsets as far as the plans for boxing promoters would go. Martin Bacol beats Big Baby. Ruiz and the other Big Baby go to a draw. Deontay Wilder gets knocked out twice, 2 times in a calendar year. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Joshua gets knocked out. Fury loses. Like those events, and I'm not downing any of the other fighters who were involved in any of these fights, but those losses really I guarantee you, threw off a whole end of the year, January, February, March type of plan that a lot of people had for maybe, just like you said, the winner of Fury Usyk should be facing the winner of what just happened. But now anything goes, and I'm pretty sure they're going to try and keep Dubois busy. He's going to have a fight in between now and then, because I mean, was there any damage? Did you even pinch him? I mean, that's what you kind of have to think about. But for sure, Dubois has made his name in the world of boxing forever. Stamped on the year of 2024, definitely.
Something that just occurred to me: they're definitely going to run that rematch back. Especially because of Turkey. Because if you remember, he was the most emphatic one in, saying they're going to do all the rematches like in the first place, like with like Fury Usyk, for example, and stuff like that. And last point out of all the shocking ones, I think you left out the biggest one, which was Francis Ngannou knocking down Tyson Fury.
Yeah,
that to me is more of a shocker than all that shit combined.
Yeah, even laying a hand on him. You're right.
Let's shift gears here and get into some UFC news. Get into this weekend's announced today that the main event in China, none other to be than Pion versus Davison Figueiredo. So we know Figgy is not going to, he wanted a title fight, does now obviously not getting that. This looks like to be a number one contender match here at the bantamweight. Bobby, weird spot here in China and not having Wei Li be the main event, but nonetheless, it is Peter Yan versus Figgy.
So two questions. Is it confirmed that it's actually in China? Second question, this is the main event? When I saw it, I thought they just announced it.
No, so MMA Junkie reported Peter Yan, Davidson Figueiredo are set for 5-round main event in Macau.
Well, I guess I have nothing to bitch about because originally when I saw this, I was in the Discord. I was like, oh, man, I wish they did this 5 rounds. And so that's awesome. This is
that favors Peter Yan, if you ask me.
Yeah.
What was that?
I would say that favors Peter Yan, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would probably lean that way. I mean, I know a lot of people do hold Figgy in high regards. This is the fight I wanted to happen. I was pretty on record to say Umar should be next against Merab. And that's also the UFC's plans. And it looks like that is definitely going to happen because the two of them booked up. Figgy was the only other person who stood a shot. So, yeah, it being in China is kind of bizarre. I do understand it from Jan's point of view because I think he has a lot of people still in that region and stuff. But, yeah, it's going to kind of suck having to wake up at 4 a.m. my time probably to watch it. But at the same time, that's probably what 80% of fans are used to having to do anyway. So I should quit my complaining of having to do it once every year and a half.
Yeah, I don't know if this, I don't know. Who knows what time that'll be? If they'll, they could air it at, like they did with the London card or something like that. It'll be interesting to see what time that card will be. That's going to be in November. Wait, you got any thoughts here on the former bantamweight taking on the former flyweight?
Listen, when I got a chance to read about it on Twitter, on X, I had an idea. Like, wait a minute, why so far away? There's a card in between. I would have thought they could have possibly put it on, but I mean, once again, for the fact of hey, it's a card in China. Just China. I gotta say it just like our former President Trump. It kind of threw me off a little bit for them not to have Wei Li on it, but I mean, as a fighting purist, we're going to talk about the France card. Everybody's French on that card, just about. But just to see Figgy get his opportunity, I think we talked about it maybe a week or two ago that he should be somewhere in there. I mean, hey, if you got to put it somewhere, put it in China, man. And they want to give the fans, a taste of what other fans get in other countries. They don't want to just make it basically a Chinese based ethnic card. They want to give them a little bit of everything. And to me, this is a show waiting to happen. So I like it. I'm glad it's 5 rounds. I would have maybe thought they would have put somebody else for the main event, but I'll take it.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
One thing I also just realized with this makes kind of perfect sense to me now. So Figgy was asking for a title shot, right? Saying, I'm next. I deserve to be next. UFC counters with, fuck you. Go fight Peter Yan in China. So, now that I think about it a little more, this kind of all makes sense with how they do business.
Amen to that. Amen to that. I think it's the 5 rounds to me favors Peter Yan. We haven't seen Figgy at 5 rounds at 135, but obviously he's gone 5 rounds at 125. So I think the gas tank should be there. I just think the way Peter Yan, the way he reads, and sets up things, it'll be interesting because we know Figgy can wrestle, and we saw Peter Yan struggle against Merab and what happened there. So it'll be interesting to see You know, and Peter Yan struggled with Aljo the second time. So will Figgy go in his bag and wrestle instead of kind of stand and bang? So
will this be another boring, long knockdown, drag out, wrestle each other main event? Is that what you're trying to say?
Jan starts slow, like
yeah,
he does the whole downloading thing. So I mean that's Figgy's best angle is being able to steal some early rounds and then catching that second wind. I'd be very interested to see what the line is. It would not shock me at all if it was basically a pick 'em.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Let's get into this week's card. UFC returns to Paris. It is headlined by Rentano Moicano, Moneyman Moicano, taking on BSD. We have not seen BSD since the loss to Dustin Poirier. Moicano on a 3-fight. He's won 4 out of his last 5. Really, he beat Hernandez, Brad Riddle, Drew Dober, and Jalen Turner his last time out, and that was earlier this year. That was UFC 300. BSD we have not seen since 302, I believe, or 301. Let me look here. When it was in, I can't remember, was that before or after 300? 299. So relatively both coming off. Before that, BSD had not lost, but here he is in the main event in his home country, taking on Money Moicano. BSD the favorite here at minus 90. What do you think on this main event on Saturday, Whit?
Well, like we talked about, man, we thinking what 299. That was that a little bit of a layoff.
Yeah.
I'm
looking about the same amount of time off.
Yeah, I'm looking at shout out to my people from Tapology.com who follow me. I'm looking at their info. Looks like he got a unanimous decision in against Mark Diakis in ADXC, which is grappling, if I'm not mistaken. But that was on May 18th. 2000. That was okay. So that was May 18th of 24. So he did do something in between now and
talking about Moicano?
Huh?
Are you talking about or BSD?
We're talking about Benoit Saint Denis. Yeah, Saint Denis had a grappling match.
Moicano did too at one point.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked, because I know Moicano did a grappling match as well, because he cut in
with Chase Hooper, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like these guys have been busy. But what's been going on with Saint Denis? He was on, if y'all remember, maybe 2 now. They say because before the O'Malley, like he was on a really fast meteoric rise. I remember. I think
blasted Matt Friola in Madison Square Garden.
I think me and Bodkins watched and talked about Matt Friola, and we was like, what? Who is this guy? And then it happens. You get to a seasoned vet like the Diamond Man, and you get put in your place. For me, I really like Moicano. Moicano was on a really good fight streak at one time as well. Not a hands guy can get down there and get you in the sub if you really want to bang it out like that. But for some odd reason, I'm really feeling like this is favoring Saint Denis a little bit. Not just because it's on home court advantage, but it's not like Saint Denis can't grapple. And this is in my mind one of those things where the rubber meets the road. Like you said, I think about a pick 'em, like who's grappling? Are they going to cancel each other out and just end up standing and swinging at it? Or are they really going to get in? So I'm interested to see that. Moicano, of course, having been on the streak. Saint Denis having had that really tough loss at 299. I mean, normally it's the guy who took the L that comes back and has something to prove, especially to stay, in the UFC. So that means to me, Saint Denis is where like I always say, brain and heart. For this one, my brain is going to go Saint Denis. My heart's going to go Moicano, man. heart's definitely going to go Moicano.
What about you, Bobby? What's your thoughts here?
Interesting one to break down. Moicano does not take damage well. Like he's very durable, but when he gets hit, you can kind of see him wearing the damage and stuff.
Turner should have put out, and he let him back up, and Moicano come back and won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not trying to take anything away from Dustin Poirier at all, but it was pretty obvious that Saint Denis had staff going into that last fight. He definitely got, I wouldn't say out-toughed by Poirier, but Poirier had definitely been there before and was able to, hold with it and get it done. But when you break down him coming back, he seems to have very rigorous training and stuff. So, providing
former special forces, former special forces, France special forces,
badass in
legitimate
France.
Killer. That's not just a phrase. So,
no.
The 5-round aspect is kind of interesting to me because that Dustin Poirier, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that a 3-round fight?
Yeah, it was.
So, there are a lot of things that make me really wonder. I can definitely see avenues to Moicano having success. And, not to quote the man directly, but, he says, I cannot lose. And I think, we are going to see a performance like that from him, of him leaving it all out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, but that being said, I do think that Saint Denis probably has a lot of the advantages here in the striking. I think Moicano probably has a leg up in the grappling, but it's really close for me. I don't put too much stock with it being in Paris, but Saint Denis has a very impressive streak in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So, my brain definitely says to go with Saint Denis, but fuck that. We're not using my brain today. We are riding with Money Moicano because he is too good to lose. So give me Money Moicano in that money line.
Man, I actually like BSD. I think I was kind of high on him before the Poirier fight. Even though he took the loss, he still showed himself, handled himself. It's not like he had DP in some bad spots in that round. Moicano's been on a nice run, but I just think that I do put a little stock in it that it is in France. That crowd is going to be raucous. One of the best every year when they go to France. The last 2 years, that crowd has been incredible. So I'm all in on BSD. I think he could be. I don't know how far he can go, but I think he can only beat Money Moicano. So give me BSD to win this one.
Man, look, we in agreement. Shout out to you, Dawkins. Like I said, we've done this show for a while now. I swear, me and you was like, man, he could be next. He's that guy. I don't know if anybody.
If he would have beat DP, he would have been next. If he'd been able to beat DP, he would have been next.
He was right.
Or he'd been right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel, that those tough losses, like to somebody as highly regarded as Dustin Poirier, you learn something. The fighters learn something. You know what I mean? People learn something when Neil Magny beats your ass. What do you think you learn when you lose to Dustin Poirier? So I would hope that he comes out, and I like Moicano. I like Money Moicano. When we talk fights, when we talk UFC, his name comes up quite often. But this is, like I said, I think this is like the skill set.
He's a fun guy. He's a character. I like both of them, really. I don't give that man the microphone. He's always entertaining. So that's. But I just think that BSD is a bad dude.
Do you think there's a scenario where you talk about the crowd? What do you think that does to a wild boy like Moicano?
That's true. It probably gives some. It probably does give him some extra juice. Yeah.
Let me just paint the picture. If he does win, and he gets on the mic, like, could you imagine him like talking to, like, they would initially be booing him, but by the end of his post-fight press conference, they will be cheering the shit out of him because, like, he just seems to have that effect on people. Now, granted, that means shit all in a combat fight. I completely understand that. I understand that Moicano is definitely the wacky pick here for sure. But at the same time, with the 5 rounds, like, if Saint Denis isn't able to get it done early, where does this fight go in like the 4th and 5th round? And you know, I do think Moicano is able to put, I wouldn't say put a pace, but he'll be able to match as much as he's being given in the beginning. So it's just going to come down to if he can take that or, you know, are they going to clash? So really excited for it as a main event. But yeah, I felt like I was selling out if I went against money there.
I mean, I'm in agreement with you. I'm definitely in agreement with you. This is one of those where that I gotta see it, and I'm glad it's not a shorter fight. The skill sets, they really think they're gonna nullify each other, and then we might end up not with a boring fight, and that's what I'm hoping for. Saint Denis
I don't think these two, Manny Moicano can't be in a boring fight.
Keep in mind, Moicano trains with Dustin.
Ooh,
yeah, true.
Sprinkle that on top of that one, right?
I don't think it's going to be a boring fight. It'll be interesting. Neither one of these guys, this is their first main event, trying to go 5 rounds. So it'll be, you know, that part I think will be the most interesting part. Whose gas tank, if they can't get finished out of the 3rd, whose gas tank is going to last longer in the 4 and the 5 for both these guys. So this is their first main event, and it'll be interesting. You know, whose skill and will get them through the championship rounds. If we get there, both these guys are capable with finishes. You know, both of them are. I do want to talk about the co-main event as well. Brendan Allen on a 7-fight win streak. He could be very well next for DDP if he wins this one. It'd be hard to say no when you got 8 fights in a row. He is taking on the other Frenchman in the co-main here, Manov, who's also a nice winning streak himself. Nasruddin is the favorite at -210. Brandon Allen at +175. Nasruddin Imanov, this is his back-to-back main event, as he just was main evented with Jared Cannonier. Brendan Allen, his last he did have a main event too, but this one at Allen, I always feel like is at the apex. This one in France. Bobby, your thoughts here on the co-main?
Another really good fight. I mean, credit to them for. I don't think they could have really built this card any better. The way it all kind of stacks up. There's a lot of talent, especially on the main card that's on it. And I don't think it's missing anyone from Paris, personally. Breaking down the Allen fight, you know, that is, I was a little surprised at the line. It was, I thought it'd be a little bit closer, especially with the streak that Allen is on. I do think he matches up fairly good in both the striking and the grappling, but apparently Vegas is telling me that I'm wrong, and I don't know. I think I didn't realize I was being so anti-Paris today, but I think you know, in the 3-round fight aspect, Brandon doesn't really seem to have issues getting started or anything. So I think it's going to be a very entertaining, probably 15-minute fight because both these boys are tough. But I'm for sure leading Allen on this one.
Yeah. What about you?
All right. Well, I think it's going to be game over. This one seems like it's going to be the French Revolution because I'm thinking the opposite of Bobby on this one, man. We're talking Nasruddin Imavov. Y'all want to know where he was born at? Wild guess. Anybody?
Somewhere in France.
Dagestan, unless they're wrong. Dagestan, Russia. Okay. Everything in Dagestan is different. His nickname is the Russian Sniper. Somehow, some way, he's got 6 wins by KO, 4 by submission. And when I think about Brendan Allen, I'm thinking straight up and down. This is the subs, the 14 wins by submission. This is where another one where the skill sets may clash and somebody has to do something that they're not used to. And if that is the case, I'm thinking Nasruddin Imavov is more not. And let me say it about the way I'm thinking it, so they're not change it. Brendan Allen is the striker, yes, but Nasruddin Imavov is the knock you out guy. If y'all see what I'm saying in my mind, I like Imavov in this one. Another guy who on his streak it was on his way up. I think. Let me see. Because I know who I'm talking about. I watched him fight Roman Dolidze, and it went to decision. But I thought in that fight, I was like, okay, this guy's serious. And even though it was 3 rounds, just like you said, it showed main event potential to me. And that was on a fight night, and of course anything it is exciting at a fight night if it's a good fight. So I know I was paying attention to that one for sure. I really think that the Brendan Allen matchup is a good one when they didn't slack off putting this French card on. You know what I mean? So the main event and the co-main are good ones, but I'm leaning towards the French Revolution on this one, baby. Oui. Pepe Le Pew, all that.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago we did the UFC. We did like a weight Grand Prix, and we were buying stock in the middle. I chose stock in, and the young up and comers was none other than Mr. All In, Brendan Allen, 14 submission. So that way, if this goes to the ground, which I think he's going to try to take it to the ground. He has the submissions to win. 7-fight win streak. He knows he's knocking on the door. He is right there. We haven't really seen him. Allegedly, he was somebody that looked like him was in a tussle with at PFL with what's his name?
Marvin Vettori. He's coming off a knockout in my
Marvin Vettori. Yeah. Allegedly looked like him. Gerald Mershark says Gerald. Brendan was sitting at the house with him. So but, he hasn't been. He's been doing work. Gone. I really like All In here. I got to ride with him. He's right there. If he wins this, it could. It's tight. It'll be interesting. It could be Bobby Knuckles could be next. Middleweight division is clamped up. But Brendan Allen's a fresh face, and he would be entering the top 3 here, and I think could be next for the title. It's 8 in a row. He knows everything's on the line. Big fight. Country. He wanted this to be a main event. Unfortunately, they didn't give it to him. Instead, it is a 3-rounder, and I think Brendan Allen make it 8 fights in a row for Mr. All In.
I think Strickland gave him the blueprint, and he's going to use that tape.
Yeah. Strickland beat Imavov, so
it'll be the way you beat him. You out tough him, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Allen is completely capable of that. Again, not a shot at Paris.
It's not a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you guys. I can see Brendan Allen, of course, on his rise up. I think, like you said, Bakken, 7 wins. It's going crazy, and the fight, the matchmakers at UFC have a funny way of throwing random, immovable stumbling blocks in the way of some of these fighters. And
I
not all of
personally
them
would have liked to see these two guys fight, two of the older in this division, not go at each other yet.
not right now.
But they're doing it now.
Mm-hmm. I think that's where I was going. They throw these stumbling blocks in there. I feel like somebody has to lose and go way further down the card. I think it's like 4-8. Brendan Allen's 8. And my mouth is 4. Am I right?
I believe so. Let me double check.
So somebody's got to fall out of the top 10 with this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to me this matchup
top 10, but yeah.
To me, this matchup solidifies that Sean Strickland is the #1 contender, because that is why they match these, two guys up. You could, if you were using other people at the top of the division, you could easily match them up with like other people. But, especially with Chimaev and Whitaker already being on the books, I think this is really all they could do. But I do agree. I wish they would have went a different route. But I'm excited they didn't, because this is going to be a good fight.
It is in this whole card, Bobby. You mentioned earlier, this whole card's pretty good. You got we mentioned Matt Friola's on this card, Brian Battle's on this card. It is Ian Cutabella is on. Bob, is there a fight other than like the main and co-main where you're like, I got to make sure I got the ready for this one?
Definitely the Brian Battle fight, like for sure. And, that steamroller fight is going to be really good too. Pretty much that entire main card is built really nice. It could be a long night for Paris. They're always good at keeping the energy either way. Or it could be the opposite. The matchmaking on this, I think, is pretty well done. And I understand why people are saying, oh, this is better than the Sphere cards.
Oh, no, not better than the Sphere already. God, dog. Sphere can't even live a month.
The next weekend's card's 1,000 times better than the Sphere card. I don't know if the Sphere card wasn't that deep. I'll say that. It was not deep. This card, I feel, has got a little bit more layers to it. What about you? Was there a fight?
3 times.
The Sphere card?
In full.
Yes. I've only watched it once, and that was the original. I need to go back and watch it, and I really want to get into movies and things like that with the Sphere card again. Is there a fight for you, Bobby? How much time do you got in the day? That Sphere card was like 12 hours long. So every damn fight was a decision.
Well, no, the main card is what I've rewatched, because that had like most of the visuals and stuff. It hasn't been the whole thing.
The main card was still like 12 hours. I felt like fight went to decision.
And I don't do it all in one sitting. I'll pause it.
Okay.
Because especially with,
I was about to say, man, Dad, you watching the whole thing? How many times, bro?
Yeah, well, there ain't enough hours in the day. I'll tell you that much. It is but that does kind of show how unique I kind of thought it was, because I obviously know the outcomes of the fights.
Yeah. I need to go back and rewatch it. I think it was a lot of fun, and just kind of catch back up. Before I want to go back to the Sphere card real quick here in just a second before we get out of here. But did you have a fight forward to on Saturday other than the ones that we've already mentioned?
Yeah, low key. It's one of the ones that when I was just previewing, scrolling through stuff. Once again, shout out to my people for following me, giving me the little heads up on the link on Tapology. So Gabriel Miranda, right? Shout out to him. Not only is his mustache very good looking, but he's actually a guy you want to keep your eyes on. Submissions, crazy submissions. 16 wins by submission. As of right now, he is on he just beat Shane Young, but that was in 2023, so he's been out of contention for a bit. He had a canceled bout that was supposed to be earlier this year in March. Everybody's looking for a lot of people are looking for him in two separate different promotions that I'm familiar with. So I'm looking forward to seeing Gabriel Miranda, but one to keep your eye on for sure. Early in the prelim card at light heavyweight, Ian Cutelaba and even Evan Ershon. Now, Evan Ershon, of course, right now 14-3. Ian Cutelaba 17-10. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, I know. But nonetheless, this one shouldn't last long. When I think about it, I saw some of the clips that were on the website. Ian Cutelaba out here in the streets, knocking guys out cold. It is definitely different when your nickname is the Hulk. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one or trying to catch it as early as possible because I know it's gonna be a funny time slot. But yeah, so let's put it on for the light heavyweights, man. Ian Cutelaba is who I'm going with that one. And let's also talk about a little bit of Gabriel Miranda. Let's see what happens with those two fights.
Real quick, O'Malley has come. It's the last week has come out. At first, he gave to Merab, but now he's come out and said he won rounds 1, 3, and 5. Bobby, you think it's a troll job here by Sugar? But there's some believe they're backing him. I don't see it, but I see round 5, but I don't see rounds 1 and 3 by Sean, or just you think he really thinks this?
The way he uses social media, I kind of think it's a troll job. I would kind of. Sorry. I hope it is. That clip showed me that he is surrounded by more yes men than a fucking cocaine dealer. So I'm assuming most of it was for show. You know, I saw Tim Welsh's interview where he owned up to a lot of stuff. But, you know, I said before I could give him 2 rounds, but yeah, giving him the fight is insane. But he's doing the right thing by keeping his name in the mix. But we know he's not good at handling with losses. And so the question is he trolling that and adding it on, or is this legitimate? I could say it'd be 50-50 easily.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I initially feel like he knows he lost and has some things to work on. And obviously with the injury as well. Wait, any thoughts here on Sean?
Bro, I just gotta say, unfortunately, O'Malley, you lost. It's over. But for real, though, seriously, man, I got a feeling just like Rob said. He has a team, a specialist team that you know, along with everything else that he does, that I think they are specifically saying, hey, this is a great time to put out a video and say, you know, just a little bit of cap. You know what I'm saying? So let's stop the cap and say you lost. You won what, rounds 1, 3, and 5? Yeah, bro, you sniffed 4 maybe. Other than that I don't think so. But it just like you say, you're keeping your name relevant in the Merab sweepstakes. Whenever he gets, what's my guy's name? He's gonna do. He's gonna fight now.
Umar. He's fighting Umar now.
Umar, right? Whenever the Umar fight is over with, you know, they're gonna remember these videos and they're gonna say, well, let's see if O'Malley's healthy and if he's ready to get back in there. But he's gonna have to fight. He's gonna have to beat somebody up. O'Malley's gonna have to beat somebody up in between this Umar and Merab fight, and I can't wait to see who next year.
Yeah. I can't wait to see you fellas next week. Next Wednesday will be our UFC 297, right? Jesus. Man.
We rolling through the year, man.
Not 297. UFC 307. I said 297.
Thought we went back in time for a minute.
Yeah, UFC 307. How are we 7 months removed from UFC 300? Jesus, there's already been 7 cards since UFC. It's insane to me.
That part
UFC
is, it feels
300.
like there've been 9 or 10.
Yeah. UFC 307, live from Salt Lake, Utah. Headline by Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree. The co-headline is for the bantamweight title, the women's bantamweight title, Raquel Pennington versus the returning Juliana Pena. Quick, Bobby Head, before we get out of here, you had something to say about the PFL and Francis.
Yeah, we could probably push it off to next week. I'll lay the floor here and we can pick it up. But the fight is rapidly approaching, and I see very little. Not so much the Francis card itself, but the whole entire card is by far their best card they're ever putting on, and the only reason I know about it is because I'm looking for it. It just feels bizarre to me. It seems like there are no attempts to try to bring in the casual fan. They're just like catering to their audience.
But Bobby, they're spending more money than Dana did on the Sphere on this card.
That's what
if
the
that
streets
was
say, right?
remotely true,
That's what
I would
Don
not be
said.
bitching about it. Like it. I mean, I saw one trailer. It's like a 30-second clip that makes you look like they spent that type of coin, but it's just pinned on their Twitter. And I don't know. I'm very excited for it. I just wish they would get me more excited for it. But apparently I'm already in, so they don't really give a shit. But I don't know how they're going to bring in new fans and survive.
And they have to, and I'm right there with you. I was thinking to myself, as soon as Bakken said it, damn, and I can honestly say, if I have, it was probably like on accident during like a soccer match or something. But I haven't seen any promotion for it.
I haven't seen any promotion for it.
I
haven't.
I'll lead with promoting it on your own fight cards that nobody watches does not count as promoting it. I'm talking about it being on other platforms like during ESPN and shit. And I just feel none of that. It feels like the only airtime they bought is when they're doing their cards where the advertised money is probably next to nothing. Mm-hmm. So, maybe next week it will pick up a little bit, but I do not feel as hyped as I should be.
October 15th, I believe. Right?
Okay.
In 2 weeks.
Hey,
well, 3 weeks.
We should show the PFL some love and talk about their fight card that week for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think it's the 12th or maybe, right?
I will absolutely break down that entire card, especially the
of course we'll talk about it.
All those fights are
Johnny Eblin's on the card. Johnny Eblin and Fabian Edwards too's on that card.
I think they've done a great job of building that card, making it feel big because it definitely is big. Mm-hmm. I just wish that people that weren't in the know knew more.
Yeah, though they haven't done a good job, like you said. But I haven't seen one promotion, one video. I haven't seen anything from it.
The Ngannou Ferreira standoff.
They did the one press conference.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've seen with the one press conference. Yeah.
And everyone just got all caught up against the mistranslation.
There's nothing that's going to get me more inspired than like Francis Ngannou running through an African village. They don't even have that.
No, they don't have nothing. No, there's not been more. I haven't seen one video. So the only thing I've seen is the press conference.
Yeah, I mean,
So.
show me something, co-leader. You want me to buy this as a pay-per-view? Show me something. Like,
Yeah,
it ain't that hard. Don't take the
amen to that.
UFC's cue of, oh, we don't need to promote our events. We're the UFC. Respectfully, you're not. So, little more promotion would be great.
Yeah.
If they were smart, they would take the electronic route, and I would buy up so much ad space on TikTok and freaking Instagram right now that it would make people sick. Every time you scroll, there's a PFL ad. But I don't know anything other than millions of people and children scrolling through TikTok right now. But
Yeah.
What do I know?
Whit, you got anything to before we get out of here?
Nah, man. To be real with you, right now, this is a little bit of my downtime. I do this every year, kind of just to refocus on what I got going on. Holidays are coming up, but I do want to say big shouts out to everybody who got a chance to watch on Instagram today on my live. I appreciate that. Appreciate the love. And once again, man, big shouts out to Bikins and Bobby, man. We here doing head kicks and haymakers once a week, talking about some of my favorite shit. And unfortunately, Anthony Joshua lost. Dubois cards going up. Can we get Wilder and Joshua Turkey Al Sheikh? What's what's the white guy's name with all those stupid fights all the time that nobody really likes? Somebody, what what I'm talking about? He's gonna fight Tyson eventually.
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, put the money up. I'm sorry, I'm old, so sometimes my mind slips, you guys. Yeah, Jake Paul, put the money up and find a way to get Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder in the ring. Period. Let's have some fun heavyweight fights right now. That's all we want. That's it.
I feel like this has been the year the last 2 years combined as a revived heavyweight boxing.
Bro, you're absolutely right. I have not seen this many entertaining heavyweight fights in a long time, and they're bringing them out the woodwork. Like I said, Martin Bucol, we got Joseph Parker, you got Usyk, you got Fury. The names keep coming, and there are others. Zhang, Dubois coming out of nowhere. We got Big Baby who lost and Big Baby who won. There's 2 Big Babies. Maybe we should have a Big Baby off. Somebody's got to not call themselves Big Baby anymore. But once again, this is a revitalization of the heavyweight division, and it happens every 4 or 5 years. So I'm excited about this one. And what happened the week before? We saw Canelo win. Maybe we get a Benavidez talk. Maybe we don't. Maybe we get a little bit more of Riyadh season money thrown our way, so we can see what we really want to see, which is Bud Crawford and Canelo. So it's a lot going on towards the end of the year in boxing, most definitely.
Again, we'll be back next week, 8:00 Central, 9 Eastern, for our UFC 307 preview card. Again, headlined by the light heavyweight Mr. Poton. Alex Pereira takes on
Chama.
Chama. Roundtree, and I mean, I can't wait to break that card down. Nobody's giving any respect to Roundtree right now.
I love his story. We'll talk about it next week. But I've been reading it, hearing it, looking at the interviews. I love that guy's story. I don't care if he wins or loses. I just like it.
Yeah. Anyway, for Bobby, I'm Bodkin. It's been another great episode of Head Kicks and Haymakers. We'll catch you guys next week. See y'all.
Peace. All right, boys. Appreciate you.